Welcome to Kafu Infotainment. 8 most brutal dictators in history. Number 8. Joseph Stalin. Reign 1922 to 1953. Joseph Stalin was a Soviet political leader who led the Soviet Union from 1924 until he died in 1953. Stalin's attempt at rapid industrialization and imposed collectivism led to mass starvation and what is known today as the Great Famine. An estimated 14.5 million people died of starvation from 1932 to 33. Ukraine and Kazakhstan communities were particularly hit hard. Stalin also led the Great Purge in 1937 to eliminate dissents and threats to the Communist Party. Although the exact number is unknown, 750,000 people were executed during the Great Purge, and more than 1 million survivors were sent to forced labor camps known as the Gulag. It's estimated no less than 1.5 million people died in the Gulag between 1930 and 1956. In history, we have seen the rise and fall of many dictators who have inflicted horrifying acts on their people. Learning about brutal dictators of the past is essential not only for improving your historical knowledge but for moving forward. Only through the past can we fully appreciate the true value of democracy and the importance of human rights and personal freedom. Number 7. Adolf Hitler. Reign 1933 to 1945. Probably the world's most well-known dictator, Adolf Hitler, is famously known for initiating the World War II. He was the leader of the National Socialist German Workers' Party, more commonly known as the Nazis. The party was founded on racist anti-Semitism, expansionist nationalism, and anti-immigrant hostility. When Hitler rose to power in 1933, so did his concentration camps. His original target population was political opponents, Romani, Jehovah's Witnesses, and homosexuals. However, after 1938, Hitler targeted Jewish people. Jewish people faced horrible treatment in Germany. Their houses were burned down, they were attacked by German mobs, and marriages between Germans and Jews were banned. The Holocaust, which took place between 1941 and 1945, was Hitler's most appalling act. He created Jewish extermination encampments, killing more than 6 million Jews. Another 5 million people perished alongside them in concentration camps. Number 6. Idi Amin. Reign 1971 to 1979. Idi Amin was popularly known as the Butcher of Uganda. Amin overthrew an elected government in Uganda with a military coup. Using lessons from the British colonial army, he declared himself president and ruled ruthlessly from 1971 to 1979. Once in power, Amin started mass execution of the Akoli and Lango tribes. In 1972, Amin forced 80,000 Asians to leave the country, which caused the economic collapse of the country since many were business owners. It's estimated that through his rule, Amin killed at least 300,000 civilians. Number 5. Walad the Impaler. Reign 1448 to 1456 to 62 and 1476 to 77. Walad the Impaler was a warlord in what is known presently as Romania. He was also known as Walad III, Prince of Wallachia. Walad sought to destroy the Ottoman Empire. His bloodthirsty acts are said to have inspired Bram Stoker's Dracula. Walad earned his nickname from his favorite method of execution, impaling. Impaling involved a wooden or metal pole inserted through the genitals to the victim's mouth, which was a slow, torturous death. There is a story of Walad dining amongst a forest of spikes and writhing bodies. He impaled 20,000 Ottomans and often ordered people to be skinned, boiled, decapitated, blinded, strangled, hanged, burned, roasted, hacked, nailed, buried alive, and stabbed. Number 4. Timur. Reign 1370 to 1405. Timur was a Mongol Turkish conqueror, leading military campaigns throughout a large part of Western Asia. In his exhibition east, in what is now called Afghanistan, Timur horrifically constructed a tower made of living men. He heaped and cemented together the men with bricks and mortar. In Isfahan, a central city in Iran, Timur punished a revolt with a massacre. The heads of 70,000 people were built up into minarets. If you haven't heard of Timur before, you won't forget him now. Number 3. Ivan the Terrible, reigned 1533 to 1584. Ivan the Terrible, also known as Ivan IV Vasilievich, was the first Grand Prince of Moscow and became the Tsar of Russia in 1547. Ruling until his name as the Terrible was the death of his wife in 1560. Ivan was convinced his wife had been poisoned by his enemies, and he became paranoid. Anyone perceived to be a political enemy was killed and tortured. Around this time, Ivan founded the secret police known as the Oprichnina. They did Ivan's bidding, murdering priests, ransacking their churches, and burning government officials alive. Ivan took part in murders and massacres of his people. There are stories of him roasting men on spits and tying men, women, and children to sleighs, which were then run into the freezing waters of the Volkhov River. Ivan's murderous tendencies also extended to his family. After finding out his seventh wife was not a virgin, Ivan droned her. In a rage, he is also said to have killed his son, Ivan Ivanich. Number 2. Attila the Hun, reigned AD 434 to 453. Attila the Hun was one of the fiercest leaders in history. He is said to have killed his brother to become the sole leader of the Hunnic Empire. Attila was king of the Huns, nomadic warriors from the Eurasian steppes from 406 to 453 AD. The Roman Empire nicknamed Attila the Scourge of God. In combat, Attila had a scorched earth policy, destroying everything in his path, reducing entire settlements to a smoking pile of rubble. Attila is famously cited, boasting that a blade of grass never grew where his horse trod. If that wasn't bad enough, Attila had a huge Hun army with nearly 500,000 men. It's no wonder other European empires feared him. Number 1. Mao Zedong, reigned 1949 to 1976. Arguably the greatest mass murderer of the 28th century, Mao Zedong was a Chinese communist revolutionary and founder of the People's Republic of China. Zedong killed an estimated 65 million people in his mission to create socialist China. Any opposition to Zedong was suppressed. Under his reign, 46,000 scholars were buried alive. His failed attempt at industrialization caused one of the world's biggest famines in China. The exact death count from the famine is unknown, but estimation from demographic reconstruction estimate at least 30 million people died.